How well does the Harbor Freight's new light stack up against the competition, especially the Baja Designs LP6 and the Amazon Knockoff LP6s? In this video, we're going to unbox them, field test them, and measure the output with my Lux meter so that you know which one is better suited for you. Alright, first up we're opening up the Roadshock 6 LED Edge series from Harbor Freight. The package is extremely well packed and finish is top notch. To be honest, I think this is one of the best ones across this floor, or even one of the best ones I've ever seen for any off-road lighting packages. Here comes the instruction manual. Note that it's asking for a 14 gauge for single light and 12 gauge wire for the double light. And you can't really turn on the high and low, which is pin 1 and 4 at the same time, which is exactly the same with the instruction from the Baja Designs LP6 series. Opening up the box, you will see a black cover on the lens, on the light itself. Pull the whole thing up, and it's very well packaged in very dense foam. You can see that there's an amber cover on the bottom of this foam as well. I had a little bit of trouble trying to remove the cover off of the light itself. However, that's due to the light being so bulky, and I wasn't able to get a grasp of the light so that I couldn't pull the cover off, but now it's off. It's a very high quality cover with 3 catches on the side that snaps into the light. And you can see the light is made of a very high quality material, aluminum housing and polycarbonate lenses, and you can just feel the solidness of the light when holding in your hand. I actually measured the light myself, and it weighs in about 4.67 pounds. I just want to emphasize on how well the package is for this light. As you can see here, even for the bracket, it comes with like a sleeve kind of style bag over it, and it's very good quality. And the pigtail has 4 prongs, 4 wires coming out of it. Pin 1, 2, 3, 4, low beam, high beam, DRL, and negative. All in all, this light is very top notch in terms of packaging material, quality, and just overall experience of the package. Very good job, Harbor Freight. Alright, now we have the Amazon version of the LP6 Knockoff. This is made in China, and it just says off-road light and has about 7-inch in height of the light. Output 8000 lumens. There's 2 mode, 1 main, and then the DRL. There's no low or high differentiation of the light. And the light itself weighs in about 4 pounds. The waterproof level is IP67. You can see the light is very well built for the price. It's about $140 a pair. For this price range, it hands down, it's very budget friendly. There is some minor imperfections like scratches on the body of the light housing, as you can see here. Don't know where it's coming from. Maybe from a prior, maybe it's a return unit, or maybe it's just manufacturing defect. But it's not finished as perfectly as Baja Designs or other lights. I also find that the edge of the bracket is very sharp, and it could easily cut you if you're not careful. You will see later on as how much similarity this light has to the actual Baja Designs LP6 in terms of the exterior shape and design. Alright, here's a Baja Design LP6 package unboxing. It's a very thick, dense foam on top of the light. And then you see the light, the bracket, and the hardware. Something to be noted is that there's no wiring come with the LP6 light for this price range. It's very surprising to me. I would think, for $980 a pair, they would have included some, finished wiring parts. But instead, they only give you like a half-finished connectors without any wiring. Also, much to my surprise, even the Baja Designs bracket seems very much used, or at least scratched up. on the mounting holes. As you can see here, there are definitely signs of being used from the look of it. As far as the light goes, it's very well finished, very well built. As you can see here, the finish of the Baja Design LP6 is a gloss black paint instead of the textured black from the other lights, from the Harbor Freight or the knockoff light. It's very girthy, but not as thick as the Harbor Freight one. And in the back of the connector is the same style, same format with the Harbor Freight. 4 pins, 3 modes, high-low DRL. Each individual reflector seems to be separated with a gap so you can see through the circuit board at the bottom. This is because the DRL shines through those holes. The Baja Designs LP6 weighs in around 4.26 pounds, which is around half a pound lighter than the Harbor Freight ones. All in all, this is a very quality and solid unit, what you would definitely expect from a $980 light. Now is the Auxbeam 5-inch XPro light. I picked this 5 inches because Auxbeam doesn't offer anything with a sight shooting function that's over 5 inches tall. So this technically would be the largest sight shooting light offering from Auxbeam. I like how the box is telling me I'm very important. That's a very good way to boost my confidence level. One thing about the Auxbeam instruction manual or user manual is it's not specifically for the light I'm buying. It's like a very generic guide of how to mount this, but it doesn't really tell you how to wire the light. See how here the light comes with like 4 pins, however 2 of them is going separately. Not sure how to wire them up yet, but I'll keep you guys updated as the video goes on. And this is the amber back or amber cover. That's very nice packaged, very nice quality. And as you can see here, 4-pin connector with hardwares and the brackets. So the light itself comes with a black cover with Auxbeam lettering on it. I thought it was a sticker, however it's not. It's actually printed on the cover. It's a very smart move, however I would prefer a blackout cover instead of some kind of logo on it. And there's like 4 notches on this, 2 notches on each side of it, which snaps right into the cover, like this. Yep. The light itself with brackets weighs in about 2.45 pounds each. And I do like the sight shooter shape of this one. This comes with 3 sight shooter LED dials, where the Baja Designs LP6 only has 2 on each side. The coating finish is also a glossy black finish, just like the LP6's. I know people have had some kind of water intrusion problems with the light, however within the past 3 years of using Auxbeam, personally I've never had any problem with them. I have summarized the price, lumen and weight of each light in this chart. As you can see that the Baja Design has the highest price around $1,000 for a pair, while it has the highest lumen counts as well, or lumen output. The Auxbeam, Harbor Freight and the Knockoff LP6 lights, they all have very high output lumen ratings, and that's the manufacturer's stated lumen counts, lumen numbers. We'll actually measure them in terms of lux by a lux meter in a real world scenario, so that you will have an idea of how each light stack up against each other. You will also be able to tell the difference in terms of the output, not only just the lumen numbers or the lux numbers, however I believe the light pattern is very important in terms of fitting your needs with the pair of lights. Okay, now we bring all the lights outside. I'm gonna test the light's lux output on my driveway. The lights are placed about 5 meters or 18 feet away from the garage door, facing the garage door. It's about the bumper height of the Toyota Tacoma. They're mounted in the same exact spot, so the consistency is there. So this is the low beam from Harbor Freight Roadshock's Edge 6 LED lights. As you can see, the light pattern is very tight and very wide. It's kind of like a fog light pattern in the center for the low beam. I really like it a lot, and you can see how the trees to passenger angled 45 degrees. It's well illuminated. So now we have the high beam of the Harbor Freight lights. The high beam is basically illuminating everything the light has in terms of the diodes. And you can see here there's a huge hot spot in the middle while still retaining that super wide and tight band in the center. I do really like that because it provides the ultra wide illumination field or field of angle, and also have that very hot or high intensity hot spot in the middle. The measured lux output of the low beam is about 315 lux at the garage door. And the lux measurement for high beam is about 9913 lux. I'll make a chart of all the measurements at the end of the video so you can compare each of the lights together. Just for comparison, I also stood on the side of the truck at a set spot and measured the lux at the height of my belly button, so it's compared that way. Its consistency is there, but it's not a 100% super scientific test, so please keep that in mind. Again, I'll put all the measurement in a chart so that you will be able to see it clearly at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Here is the Baja Designs LP6 Pro low beam. As you can see, compared to the Harbor Freight, the low beam of the Baja Designs LP6 has a much higher intensity and a very, very tall pattern. However, it's not spread as wide as Baja or as the Harbor Freight ones. You can see that tree is not that much illuminated compared to the Harbor Freights. Feel free to jump between the frames or times of the video just so that you can compare directly of what each light illuminates, what area of my house or garage door or tree or even grass, to have a better idea of the difference. I'm also going to bring all the lights out to the field so that I can show you how far they project the lights to and how wide, how effective they are in a real world scenario. So stay tuned. Alright, here's a high beam of the LP6 Baja Designs. The high beam is really bright, and the lux measurement is off the chart. It's about 12,000 lux at the garage door. One of the highest I've measured here today out of the 4 lights. I already aimed it at one specific spot, so it's the same across 4 lights. And the high beam is just, like out of this world bright. And it's very evenly distributed. It's not just like a single hot spot in the middle. It's evenly spread across the garage door within the light's hot spot. And it's going to be very good during an off-road scenario. And then I measured the sight shooter's lux at the designated spot, also the designated height, aka belly button height of mine. It's measured about 11 to 12 lux, a little higher, 1 lux higher than the Harbor Freight, but not as significant. Alright, here is the LP6 knockoff. As you can see, the color temperature right off the bat is a little cool on the cooler side, which indicates a relatively cheaper LED chip. The brightness is not really there. See how it's compared against the stock Tacoma low beam and high beam, and it's not overpowering compared to the stock headlights. So in terms of off-road or auxiliary light, it's okay. It's not impressive at all. I would admit that giving the shape look a lot like the LP9, LP6s, I was expecting somewhat at least similar performance. I know it's not going to be as good compared to the Baja, however, I didn't know it was this poor. And also wait for the field test comes after this. In the field test, it shows even more of a lack of any kind of beam pattern. This quote-unquote hotspot is something to laugh at on the field, which you will see later. That's interesting. Making sure the unit is LUX 2928. I'm Come on. Okay. Is it higher? It's higher here. It's higher here. Let's see. 2935. It's not impressive. Light is there. Boom. 6.8. So the sight shooting is okay. 7 lux. Same spot, right? You can see. Alright, here is the Auxbeam 5-inch X-Pro with sight shooter function. I picked the Auxbeam is because I've had a lot of great experience with Auxbeam, and I really love their 360 Pro series in terms of the throwing distance. However, the 5-inch is the largest light they offer with side shooting function. So here it is. I want to apologize because I forgot to turn off the headlights low beam. So the measurement of the lux will be a little over what it actually is. So I'm going to subtract the low beam's headlight lux from the Auxbeam to make it as accurate or as close as possible. So the lux reading for Auxbeam is 4884. Well, I've previously tested the low beam of the Tacoma at the same exact spot before I started the test, and the low beam's lux reading is 1400. So 4884 minus 1400 would be 3484. Still a little higher than the knockoff LP6s, however, not closely comparable to the LP6 or the Harbor Freight light. 10.3. Decent. Alright, now we bring all the lights outside to the field. First is the knockoff LP6 lights. As you can see here, this is the only mode. I turn on the low beam and the high beam of the Tacoma just for comparison purposes. This is the low beam and high beam, flashing the high beam, and Diode Dynamics SS3 Pro fog. They're doing a great job. However, when we turn on the knockoff LP6, there's no far field illumination at all, not even compared to the low beam. So this proved that you definitely get what you paid for, at least for this pair of lights. Alright, here's the Baja Designs LP6 lights. This is the high beam. As you see, it's very far, it illuminates very far in the field and also keeps some near car illumination. Very evenly distributed as well, especially for the low beam here. And it's significantly brighter compared to the low beam of the Toyota Tacoma. And it complements well with the low beam of the Tacoma and the low beam of the Baja Designs light. Please keep in mind that all these lights were previously adjusted to be aiming at the same exact spot using my garage door mounted in the same location of the vehicle. So the aiming is consistent with all the lights. Alright, here's a Harbor Freight high beam. And here's a Harbor Freight low beam. Something to note that Harbor Freight has a super wide angle low beam or sight shooting function. The low beam of the Harbor Freight performs somewhat like a fog light, or like a fog light on steroid, if you know what I mean. So that it shoots lights very far and very bright and very wide for the low beam diodes. And the high beam, as you can see here, the spot is really good. In my opinion, just as good as the Baja Designs. See how far it's throwing the light too. With the help of the sight shooting function, even the very wide pattern Diode Dynamics fog light still can't compete with the pattern's width of the Harbor Freight. Alright, here's the Auxbeam. Good hotspot, good sight shooting peripheral. However, nothing compares to Baja or the Harbor Freight. Alright, $1 million question. Since the LP6 knockoff does not perform even as close to the Baja or the Harbor Freight light, LP6 looking lights, I want to show you which one's better out of the Harbor Freight and Baja Designs for my need. I like Baja Designs' hot spot in the middle, from the near of a vehicle to far. It's very evenly distributed. However, I also like the Harbor Freight's very wide light pattern. it kind of eliminates the need for additional lights for me. Alright, for the low beam, Harbor Freight's low beam again shines a much wider light than the Baja Designs you see here. However, Baja Designs does have a warmer color temperature so that it's easier on your eyes, and a more concentrated light pattern in the middle of the field. However, someone could argue that with the help of the Tacoma's stock low beam, that center concentrated area can be achieved as well, even without using the Baja. Alright, I'm going to flash between the Baja Design and Harbor Freight lights, low beam and high beam, so you have an immediate perception of what each light looks like. And here's a high beam. Okay, so what's the verdict? After testing all 4 lights, I have to admit that I was wrong about Baja Design lights initially because I've never had a pair of LP6s. Personally, I thought, with the price being that high, there's no way it's that good. However, up against the knockoff LP6 lights from Amazon, it's about 6 times the price. It is about 6 times better, at least against the knockoff LP6 from Amazon, because the LP6 knockoff is just not, it doesn't have any specific light pattern. It's not it's not throwing light out there. It's not sight shooting as intended. So yes, the Baja Design LP6 is definitely that much better than the knockoff LP6 from Amazon, given the price tag. However, Harbor Freight completely changed the game, or changed the dynamic, in my opinion, because Harbor Freight is about $300 a pair. It's 1/3 of the price, a little more than 1/3 of the price, a little less than 1/3 of the price compared to Baja Design, but it's more than, I would say it's more than 2/3 performance that's offered from Baja. I could even argue that with the much wider sight shooting function, or the beam pattern, it's not completely a loss against Baja. It's got its good and bad compared to Baja, which is very surprising given the price range of $300. Okay, so to close out the video with numbers, the measured high beam of Baja Design in terms of lux is 11,200 lux. And for the Harbor Freight is 9,913 lux. For the Amazon knockoff LP6 lights, it's 2,935 lux. And for the Auxbeam is 3,481 lux. The output of the low beam is only measured with the Baja Designs and Harbor Freight because they are the only 2 that have a low beam mode. All the other 2 lights only have 1 mode, which is all on or all off, other than the DRL. So the Baja Designs low beam lux is 1111, and the Harbor Freight is 315. The lux measurement for the sight shooter, 90 degrees to the vehicle, is 11.3 for Baja Design, 10.9 for Harbor Freight, 7.7 for the Amazon knockoff LP6, and 10.3 for Auxbeam. From the number, it looks like the knockoff is significantly lower than the other 3, which is around 10 to 11 lux. Lastly, I want to do a quick disclaimer. This video is not funded by anyone. I bought the lights myself, and as a lighting enthusiast, I was really curious to know whether the Harbor Freight's new light is on par with LP6 or is it not. So I bought all these lights and to compare. And I'm not a lighting scientist, so I'm not claiming this is a 100% accurate measurement or 100% correct measurement. I know there's a lot of variables in terms of numbers, so please take that with a grain of salt. And I like all the lights that I bought, and they all have their place given the price and the person's need, so please keep that in mind. Lastly, I want to thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. Please hit the like button or subscribe, and that really helps me a lot. And also I'm going to provide the links to each of the items in the description below.